discovered, Millionaire faces an unexpected turning point after witnessing his fiancée's heartless rejection of a struggling single mother. Jake Thompson stood in the lavish ballroom, the glimmer of crystal chandeliers overhead casting a warm glow over the crowd. This charity gala was supposed to be the highlight of his year, a night to celebrate success, compassion, and community. A self-made millionaire at just 35, Jake had built a tech empire from nothing. He had a stunning fiancée, Emily, whose beauty captivated every room she entered. But as he surveyed the sea of expensive suits and sparkling diamonds, a tightness gripped his chest. How could life feel so empty when he had seemingly achieved it all? As Jake prepared to announce a substantial donation, his gaze landed on a woman nervously approaching the stage. She wore worn jeans, a frayed jacket, and tears glistening in her eyes. Jake recognized that desperation. He'd seen it all too often in his childhood, his family struggling to make ends meet, every penny counted, each meal a marker of resilience. When the single mother spoke, her voice trembled as she shared her story. Multiple jobs, sleepless nights, her children's faces fading into worry instead of joy. But before she could finish, Emily rolled her eyes, dismissing the woman's pleas with a snide remark. "This isn't the time or place for such theatrics," she scoffed, her tone icy. The laughter that followed from some guests was like ice water in Jake's veins. Jake felt the heat rising within him, clashing violently with the polished image Emily preferred. He could see the woman's pain, her struggle resonated deep within him like a familiar song underscoring his ambitions. A storm brewed in his heart. Clenching his fists, he grabbed the microphone without fully realizing what he was doing. "Wait!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the chatter. The crowd fell silent. "Can't you see her? This woman is not just a statistic, she's a mother. Her struggles are real, and we cannot turn our backs on her." The words spilled out, raw and unfiltered, fueled by memories of home, of love, and of sacrifice. Emily's face turned pale, her expression transforming from disbelief to furious embarrassment. The judgmental gazes of their affluent peers felt like daggers in Jake's back, but he pressed on. "If we aren't here to help each other, what are we even celebrating?" A palpable tension filled the air, the kind that could snap like a tightrope underfoot. Emily fumed, her silence louder than any accusation, before huffing away, leaving him alone under the dim lights, exposed, trembling, the applause of onlookers dulled by the weight of disapproval. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As he stood there, Jake pondered everything he had chased after a life of opulence that now felt like a gilded cage. Losing Emily wasn't just losing a partner. It felt like a splintering of the very identity he had built. The community he had come to ignore bubbled with memories, hopes, and heartache. Faces of resilience lingered in his mind, a poignant reminder of what he had walked away from. Could he forge a new path without losing himself? The haunting echoes of that single mother's testimony lingered in his heart, demanding answers. The night was only beginning, but Jake knew in that moment, a profound change was coming that would test the very fabric of his life. Would he have the courage to honor his roots, or would he continue to drift further from where he came? Jake stood in the empty ballroom, the hush following the storm of his outburst a sharp contrast to the vibrant chatter that had filled the air only moments ago. He felt like an intruder in his own life, the laughter nearby fading into a dull hum as thoughts raced through his mind. The applause that had once seemed so inviting now echoed mockingly in his ears. The reality of his situation was sinking in. Emily had walked out, but her parting words lingered, a bitter reminder of the world he had been entangled in. Was this really who he wanted to be? A man who stood by and watched suffering unfold, simply because it was easier and more comfortable. He thought of the single mother on stage, her plea lost in a room full of privilege. She had laid herself bare, bearing the raw truth of struggle, but it wasn't just her truth. It was his truth, too, the one he had tried to bury under layers of success and wealth. The sacrifices his own parents had made seemed to rise like smoke, a nagging reminder of the values they instilled in him: generosity, community, and empathy. With a deep breath, Jake stepped away from the microphone. He needed air, clarity. Exiting the ballroom, he found himself in the tranquil garden outside. The moonlight bathed everything in silvery serenity, a stark contrast to the chaos swirling in his heart. He could hear the chatter and laughter from inside, but it felt like a world apart. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "Are you okay?" It was the single mother, standing just a few feet away, still wearing the same frayed jacket from earlier. Her eyes, glistening with unshed tears, showed a blend of gratitude and confusion. Jake instinctively took a step closer. "I'm so sorry about what happened back there," he said, the words spilling out. "What's your name?" "Rachel," she replied softly. Clear lines of stress etched her face, but the strength behind her gaze compelled him. "Thank you for speaking up. It means a lot." Her words pierced through him, sparking something deep within. "I just couldn't stand silently while you were dismissed like that." Rachel's expression shifted from defeat to determination, inspiring Jake. "You don't have to apologize. You did more than I've seen most people do. A lot of folks here care only about appearances and their own comfort." Jake nodded, his heart racing. "I've built a life around success, but tonight, I feel more lost than ever." He paused, lost in thought. "What can I do to help?" "I want to do something, anything that can make a difference." Rachel's hesitation was palpable. "Honestly, just showing you care is a start. People need to know others are listening, especially us single mothers juggling everything. We need help, but often we're too worn out to ask for it." In that moment, something shifted inside Jake. He knew he couldn't go back to the life that had felt so hollow that evening. He wanted to commit to change, to use his resources for something far bigger than himself. "I'll bring together my network. We can create programs to support single parents, help with childcare, job training, anything they need." Rachel's eyes widened, a blend of surprise and hope. "You'd do that?" "Absolutely," Jake affirmed, letting the conviction in his voice take root. "I want to build a community, not just a tech empire." As they shared a moment of silence, the moonlight illuminated a path forward, the air now thick with possibility. Jake felt alive again, a renewed sense of purpose enveloping him. But in the back of his mind lurked an unsettling thought: would Emily have a say in his new direction? Would she stand with him or against him? Jake and Rachel exchanged a determined glance, both understanding that the journey ahead was just starting. But the question hung heavy: could Jake dig deep enough within himself to break away from his past? As he took her hand, a flicker of hope ignited in his heart. What would it take to fully transform his life and stand by his convictions? The fear of isolation from his former friends weighed heavily, leaving him with one burning question: was he ready for the confrontation that awaited him at home? Jake stood outside, the cool night air washing over him like a balm. He hadn't expected to feel so alive after everything that had happened, but standing side by side with Rachel sparked something within him. The hum of the party echoed behind them, a reminder of the world he wanted to leave behind. He felt different, ready to embrace change. "Thank you, Rachel," he said, his voice steady. "You've reminded me that life is bigger than just my own comfort. I mean it. I want to make a difference." Rachel smiled faintly, but Jake could see the weight of her struggles behind her eyes. "It's nice to hear someone say that," she admitted. "So many people pass by without even seeing us. But you listened." The sincerity in her words wrapped around him in a warm hug. "I'll be there for you and others who need it. I owe it to the community and to myself." As they stood there, a soft breeze stirred the trees above. The gentle rustling of the leaves felt like a newfound agreement of purpose. Yet, the thought of Emily lingered in the back of Jake's mind like a flickering candle in a dim room. She had always been the light in his life, or so he thought. But now, that light felt blinding, casting shadows over decisions he needed to make. Let us start by connecting with other single parents, Rachel suggested, her heart racing with excitement. They have so much to share and offer. Together we can create a network, lean into each other as strengths. Right, Jake said, feeling adrenaline surge through him. The fear of rejection or judgment began to fade as his determination solidified. I can host a workshop or a community meeting. We can share stories and resources. With each idea they tossed around, hope flourished in the garden, pushing the anxiety about Emily to the corner of his mind. But doubt crept back in. Would she see his ambition as a betrayal, a reckless escape from the world they had built together? The thought was heavy, almost suffocating. Still, he pressed on. I can't help but wonder how she'll react to me stepping onto this path, Jake confessed, glancing at Rachel. I mean, she might think I'm abandoning everything we've built. Rachel's expression turned serious, and she placed a reassuring hand on his arm. You're not abandoning anything, Jake. You're evolving. And anyone who truly cares for you will understand that change is necessary to grow. But you have to be honest with her. I know, he whispered, a mix of fear and resolve brewing in his gut. But how do you change someone's perspective on something so deep? Rachel smiled softly, her eyes shining as she considered his question. By showing up. By proving that your heart is in the right place. If she truly loves you, then she'll support the new journey you're taking. The moon shone brighter above them, illuminating the uncertainty in Jake's eyes and the hopeful spark in Rachel's. He took a deep breath, looking out toward the garden path that wound away into the night. Okay, he said, adrenaline coursing through him like electricity. I'll confront her. I have to tell her what I'm feeling and where I want to go. The air thickened with anticipation. It was a leap into the unknown, but for the first time in ages, Jake felt ready to jump. With determination coursing through him, he turned to Rachel, gratitude swelling in his chest. Thank you? For everything. I'm ready to build this community, and I couldn't have done it without you. As Rachel nodded, a shared understanding passed between them, infusing the night with warmth. But just as hope illuminated Jake's path, a siren call from the ballroom disrupted the moment, summoning him back to reality. What awaited him inside wasn't just the laughter of old friends, but also the confrontation that might change everything. Could he really take that final step towards his new self with Emily standing in his way? Would he be met with understanding, or an ultimatum that could shatter his newfound purpose? With his heart pounding, Jake turned back toward the ballroom, ready to face what lay ahead. The ballroom was alive with laughter and clinking glasses, but as Jake stepped back into that vibrant world, he felt disconnected. The swirling colors and joyous chatter felt like a distant radio playing in another room. He searched for Emily in the crowded space, his pulse quickening with every moment that passed. There she was, chatting animatedly with a group of friends, her laughter ringing out like the most beautiful melody. Jake's heart tugged. He still loved her, but now he felt the weight of his decisions like lead in his chest. The warmth of Rachel's support melted under the heat of doubt. Would Emily be able to see his desire for change as growth, not betrayal? Taking a deep breath, Jake approached the group. They turned to him, smiles fading slightly as he interrupted their conversation. Emily's eyes locked onto his, her smile returning, but he sensed confusion just underneath. Hey everyone, he said, his voice shaky but steady enough. Can we talk for a minute, Em? Sure, she replied, her brows scrunching together with concern. What's up? Jake led her away from the crowd, their footsteps echoing against the marble floor. Every step felt heavy, filled with unsaid words. He found a quiet corner at the edge of the ballroom, where the music faded to a gentle background hum. Jake, you look serious, she said, tilting her head as concern filled her eyes. What's going on? He hesitated, battling against the storm of emotions within him. I've been thinking a lot about my life, our life. I want to make some changes. The words tumbled out before he could hold them back. Emily crossed her arms tightly over her chest. Changes? What kind of changes? I want to reach out to other people, connect with single parents, maybe host workshops. He felt the nervousness clawing its way back. I care about our community and I want to help. She blinked, processing what he had just said. So you want to just leave everything behind? No. No, Em, he rushed to explain. I'm not leaving you or us. I just need to explore this. I feel like there's more I can do. More we can do together. A frown creased her forehead, shadows of misunderstanding flickering in her eyes. But why didn't you ever mention this before? I didn't know you felt this way. Jake swallowed hard. I've been scared. Scared of how you'd react, scared of what it means for our future. I didn't want to risk what we have. Emily took a step back, her arms still crossed, shielding her feelings. What you're saying sounds amazing, but it also feels like you're distancing yourself. Like you're saying I'm not enough. No. That's not it at all, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. You're everything, but this is about what I need to do for myself and our community. I thought you'd understand. Jake, it's a lot to take in. Are you saying you want to change everything we've built together? The hurt radiating from her words twisted like a knife in his heart. He reached out for her hand, but she pulled back, the tension thick between them. I'm just trying to find out who I am beyond the life we've built. I want to grow to help. I thought you'd want that for me. Emily's face softened for just a moment, but then her walls seemed to re-establish themselves. I need time to think about this. Her eyes glanced down, avoiding his gaze, the disappointment palpable. Please, but before he could say more, she turned to walk away, leaving him standing alone, the vibrant party continuing as if nothing had changed. A deep ache filled his chest. He watched her mingle with their friends, her laughter now a distant echo, reminding him just how fragile their connection was. Was this really what he wanted? Perhaps his leap toward community was testing the very foundation of his personal life. Maybe he hadn't even realized how intertwined they were. As slick memories of laughter faded, one question gnawed at him: if he changed, would their love survive? With that uncertainty hanging in the air, Jake felt a tug of desperation. Whether he had the courage to fight for both his dreams and his family remained to be seen. What would it take for him to mend the rift he'd just created? And would Emily be willing to meet him halfway on this unexpected journey? Jake stood in the corner of the ballroom, the chatter and laughter fading into an indistinct hum. The glittering lights felt blinding, far too bright for the shadows that had begun creeping into his heart. Emily's laughter, once a soothing balm, now pierced his thoughts like a distant alarm bell. He was stranded within a reality that seemed to shift beneath his feet, a world of vibrant colors and joyful faces that felt intolerably distant. He caught sight of her, exchanging smiles with friends as if nothing had shifted. The world continued around him, but his heartbeat was a metronome of anxiety, counting down the moments until he would have to confront the consequences of his decisions. He picked at the cuff of his shirt, anxiety pulling at him tighter than ever. Suddenly he felt a hand grip his shoulder. It was Rachel, her face pinched with concern. Jake, are you okay? You look like you just saw a ghost. He shook his head slightly. Just thinking. About what? You can't hide from me, you know, she pressed, keeping her voice low. Emily, he muttered, the name heavy on his lips. I didn't mean to hurt her. I feel this pull to do more, to be more. He tried to convey the whirlwind emotions swirling inside him. Rachel raised an eyebrow. And you think leaving her behind is the way to do that? It wasn't supposed to be like this, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I thought she'd understand. I thought she'd want that for me. Maybe she feels pushed away instead, Rachel offered gently. Have you talked to her about how she feels? Or just about what you want? Jake stared into the crowd, searching for Emily's face, hoping for a fleeting moment of connection. The laughter that surrounded him felt like a suffocating fog. I didn't expect it to be this complicated, he admitted, the weight of accountability settling on his shoulders. Rachel sighed, squeezing his shoulder. Jake, you can't just forge ahead alone. Relationships are about compromise and understanding. You know that. He nodded, but doubts swirled in his heart. Was he chasing a dream or fleeing from what he had? But what if she can't see what I see? he blurted. What if she doesn't want the same things? Then you'll have to figure out what matters more, she said softly. Is it your dream for community workshops or your life with Emily? The question landed like a stone in the pit of his stomach. His pulse raced as he realized he had to face Emily again. He needed to find the right words, a way to explain that this wasn't about abandoning her but about finding a shared purpose. Taking a deep breath, he began to maneuver through the crowd. Every step felt heavy, every heartbeat echoing his fears. As he neared her, he noticed the way her smile faded each time her gaze swept past him. She was surrounded by friends, but even in a crowd, she looked isolated. A chill crept through him. He approached, clearing his throat nervously. He started. She turned, her smile returning but not reaching her eyes. Yeah? Can we talk? Please? He asked, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. Her expression shifted, uncertainty flickering behind her eyes. Jake, just give me a minute, he interrupted gently. I'm still figuring this out. Please don't shut me out. The urgency in his voice startled them both. Emily glanced down, her shoulders sagging as if the air had been sucked from the room. Fine, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. They stepped away from the group, the music fading into the background until all that remained was the tension hanging between them. Jake felt the weight of every unspoken word as he sought her gaze. Look, I know I've been selfish, he started, but Emily cut him off, shaking her head. No, Jake. This isn't just about you being selfish. It feels like you're asking me to accept something I don't even understand. Jake's heart raced. I know I haven't done a good job explaining myself. But I want to include you in this what I care about. Can we figure this out? Her expression softened for a moment, but it was quickly replaced with uncertainty. I don't know if I can. Silence fell between them, a chasm echoing with the unasked questions. What would it take to bridge this divide? Could he open her heart again? As desperation clawed at him, the realization hit. Their coming conversation could change everything or unravel it completely. Would Emily be willing to meet him halfway on this unexpected journey? Jake took a deep breath, feeling the air around him grow thick with uncertainty. He had never felt so vulnerable, standing in front of Emily, his words seeming to hang in the air like heavy clouds ready to burst. He reached for her hands, their warmth contrasting sharply with the cold grip of anxiety tightening around his chest. Emily, I don't want this to be a fight. I want us to be, partners in this. I want to share this journey with you. Her eyes narrowed slightly, as if she were searching for sincerity in his voice. A journey you've already seemed to take without me, she remarked, disappointment coloring her tone. You're just asking me to jump on board now, without giving me a reason why I should. Because it's about community. It's about rebuilding and creating something that helps people. Can't you see that? He tried to convey the passion that burned inside him, but her expression remained guarded. I see it, Jake. I really do. But you've never really included me in those thoughts. It feels like you're planning a life, and I'm outside looking in. Her voice trembled, and he felt a twist in his heart. That's not what I want. I want to build something together, he exclaimed, the urgency of his emotions spilling out. But I've been so caught up in my dreams, I forgot to ask if they were our dreams. Silence again engulfed them. He could see the struggle unfolding in her eyes, a battle between love and hurt. The music from the ballroom faded further, leaving them in a bubble of their own frayed emotions. Jake, I don't want to be a footnote in your grand vision. I want to be part of the whole story. If I'm going to sacrifice my own dreams for yours, I need to know it's what we both want, she replied, vulnerability cracking through her hardened demeanor. He squeezed her hands tighter. You aren't a footnote. You're the core of it. I messed up, okay? I didn't realize how much I needed you to be right there with me, pushing me to be better. You challenged me in ways I never expected, and I miss you. A tear slipped down her cheek, and he felt his heart break a little more. She quickly wiped it away, but the gesture didn't go unnoticed. This was raw, personal, and it terrified him. He thought he saw something beneath her hurt, perhaps a glimpse of hope, but it flickered uncertainly. Maybe I don't know if I can navigate this new path you're on, she admitted softly. What if I can't keep up? Jake took another deep breath, channeling every ounce of determination he felt. Then I promised to slow down. You won't be left behind, Em. We'll navigate this together, at your pace. I can't lose you over something that is meant to bring us together. Her expression began to soften, yet the shadows of doubt still loomed. But what if we want different things in the end? How do we reconcile that? He didn't have an answer to that, but he knew they had to try. Let us talk about it. Let us lay everything out on the table. I want to hear your dreams too, your vision for us. As Jake spoke, he realized he was at a crossroads. This moment could either pull them closer together or unravel everything they had built. Can you promise me that? She whispered, her voice laced with fragile hope. Yes, he affirmed, feeling a newfound strength surge within him. I'm all in, Emily. Let us figure this out, together. The faintest hint of a smile crossed her lips, but the uncertainty lingered. That would always be there until they dared to confront that truth together. But just then, a loud commotion floated in from the ballroom, pulling their attention away. Curious glances from their friends caught Jake off guard. What was happening? Emily's brow furrowed as their moment of connection threatened to be broken yet again. Jake felt the creeping anxiety returning. They were so close to understanding each other, yet the unexpected disruption could mean another setback. Let us find out what is going on, he said, unsure if they were truly ready to step back into the chaos of the party. As they turned to move back, Jake felt the weight of everything still hanging between them, realizing that the real journey had just begun. Could they face whatever was lurking out there together? The door leading back into the ballroom swung open, and the vibrant swirl of music rushed out into the hallway like a wave. Jake glanced at Emily, searching her face for reassurance, but found only a flicker of anxiety mirroring his own. They stepped inside together. The chaotic scene drew quick, interested eyes as Jake scanned the space. In the center, a couple was arguing, their voices rising over the upbeat melody. This spectacle was pulling in onlookers, casting shadows on their fragile moment. Jake caught bits of harsh words, accusations, hurt. Emily stiffened beside him, the intensity of the confrontation affecting her too. Hey, what is happening? Jake asked a friend nearby, hoping for clarity. The friend shrugged, concern etched across their face. I don't know. Just saw them start yelling. Jake felt the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders again. Their own issues loomed large in his mind, and now this it felt like a distraction, a reminder of how easily relationships could unravel. He glanced back at Emily, noticing the way she clenched her jaw, a familiar pattern of worry surfacing. Maybe we should wait, she interrupted, her eyes fixed on the arguing couple. I need to know this ends well for them. Jake frowned. But what about us? I can't just ignore it. I want to understand. Sometimes the loudest voices echo the most important stories, she said, determination creeping back into her tone. It was one of the things he admired about her, the capacity for empathy even when her own heart was on the line. They edged closer to the scene, Jake feeling the way her presence filled him with strength. She remained focused on the pair, and he couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing at a crossroads of sorts, a divide he could sense between their personal struggle and the engagement unfolding in front of them. The man, face reddening, flared his hands dramatically. You don't understand, do you? I've put everything on the line for you. The woman stood defiantly, tears shimmering in her eyes. And you think that just erases the choices you keep making? In that moment, Jake felt a shiver down his spine. The words hit home, echoing what he and Emily had just confronted. He turned to her, seeing the flicker of understanding between them. They weren't alone in this. The pain and uncertainty felt by the couple mirrored their own feelings of doubt and hope. Emily reached for his hand, giving it a small squeeze. Sometimes we need to hear others' pain, to realize we're not so different. As the intensity of the situation spiraled around them, something ignited in Jake. Maybe we can be those people for each other. We can navigate our journey just like they're trying to. Her gaze shifted to him, surprise blending seamlessly with a spark of belief igniting within her. "You really think so?" "I know so," he said, feeling buoyed by her trust and the tumult around them. "But we have to communicate, to make sure we both feel heard." The arguing couple seemed to enter a moment of realization, voices lowering to whispers as they turned to one another. Could the same moment unfold for Jake and Emily? Suddenly, a sharp gasp drew their focus back. The woman in the argument collapsed to the floor, a sudden silence sweeping over the crowd. Jake's heart raced. "We should help." But Emily steadied her breath, and her eyes glistened with a mix of resolve and fear. "No, wait, let us listen. We need to know how to approach this." Jake felt the pull of urgency and fear collide within him. What if the truth inside this chaotic moment could reveal something about their own struggles? As they stood side by side, their hands clasped tightly, Jake realized that whatever happened next would be vital not only for the couple but for them too. Would they find clarity or face another hurdle together? With anticipation building like a drumroll in the back of his mind, he held on to hope. The chaos and connection unfolded around them, forming a tapestry that intertwined with their own unresolved emotions. As he absorbed the scene, he wondered, in this collision of lives and choices, could they discover a way forward, or would they remain lost in their own echoes? Jake's instincts kicked in as soon as the woman hit the floor. Time seemed to freeze. Gasps came from the crowd, and the music faded into a dull thrum in the background. The whispers grew louder, each person trying to piece together what had just happened. "Stay close," Emily said, squeezing his hand tighter. He nodded, feeling the warmth of her palm grounding him amidst the chaos. She was right. They couldn't just jump in blindly. They needed to be smart. The man knelt beside the woman, his panic palpable. "Mia! Can you hear me?" His voice cracked, and Jake felt a wave of empathy wash over him. In that moment, every argument and hard word exchanged between them faded. What mattered most was the life hanging in the balance. "Someone call 911!" a voice shouted from the crowd. There was a rush as people moved, forming a barrier around the couple, their faces drawn with concern. Emily pulled Jake closer, her gaze locked onto the couple. "What if she—" Her voice was small, trembling. "Hey," he said softly, trying to catch her attention. "Let us focus on what we can do. Maybe someone will have a better idea on how to help." Her eyes flickered toward him, searching for strength. "You're right. We can be here for them." He watched as she straightened her back, the resolve returning to her posture. It reminded him that he'd never truly seen her back down from a challenge. As minutes passed, more people gathered. The medics arrived, and Jake watched with bated breath. They worked quickly, assessing the scenario with practiced hands. The crowd fell into a tense silence, all eyes glued to the scene before them. The couple's world was unfolding right in front of Jake and Emily, raw and vulnerable. He couldn't help but feel the weight of emotion swirling in the air. The fear, love, and desperation mingling with the smell of expensive perfume and alcohol in the atmosphere. And just like that, Jake was reminded of their own fragile connection. His mind raced back to earlier conversations, the uncertainty lingering between them like an unanswered question. Emily's voice broke through his thoughts. "Jake, this is so much bigger than us. Their lives, this scene, it's reminding me how fleeting everything is. We need to talk again." Jake swallowed hard. "You mean about us?" "About everything, about how far we've drifted without realizing it. Watching them, I just—" Her voice shook, a shadow of doubt creeping back in. "I think we've been too caught up in our fears." He squeezed her hand. "What if we're on that same edge? If they can pull through this, shouldn't we be able to tackle our issues as well?" Emily looked up at him, the sincerity in his eyes stirring something deep inside her. Her expression softened. "What if we really dig deep? What if we actually lay everything bare?" The medics finally stabilized Mia, carefully lifting her onto a stretcher. Relief rippled through the crowd, though uncertainty still lingered. Jake's heart raced with a mix of apprehension and hope. "Okay," he said, feeling the intensity shift between them. "If we are going to do this, I want honesty. No more hiding behind words or fears. We've got a chance, just like they did. Emily nodded, her determination igniting anew. And if we get lost again? What then? Then we find our way back, together, he promised. He could see the resolve written on her face, a spark igniting in their respective uncertainties. But just as they were about to step forward, the couple's voices fading into the backdrop of the crowd offered a heartfelt apology, breaking down under the weight of his own grief. I should have listened, I should have cared more. Jake could feel the resonance of those words within himself, echoing in the confines of his own heart. With gravity pulling him deeper into the moment, he glanced sideways at Emily. Just like him, we need to take our own words seriously. As they turned to face one another, the chaos around them faded. They felt the urgency and the fragility of their situation more than ever. Could this moment, this collective experience of connection and vulnerability, be the turning point they needed? Outside, the music swelled once again, filling the silence left behind. Jake took a deep breath, ready to leap into the unknown. But suddenly, another silence fell over the gathering, one that felt even more ominous. A scream broke through the air, startling everyone, and Jake's stomach dropped. What now? What more could happen tonight? As their eyes widened in fear, he grasped Emily's hand tighter. Could this night shift from clarity to confusion in an instant? Would they be ready for the challenges ahead, or would their newfound resolve be shattered like glass? The scream echoed through the space like a gunshot, freezing time once more. The crowd recoiled, eyes darting in panic, searching for the source. Jake felt Emily tense beside him, her grip tightening as confusion blended with dread. Keep your eyes on me, he murmured, intent on drawing her focus back. They needed to anchor each other, to ground themselves amid the chaos threatening to unravel everything. Did you hear that? Emily whispered, her voice barely above a whisper, fear staining her words. What was that about? I don't know, Jake replied, scanning the crowd. He could almost feel the collective breath held. People shuffled, some bumping into chairs, others whispering frantic questions about the woman's condition and the mysterious scream. And then he spotted her, a woman near the bar, clutching her drink, eyes wide and panicked. Someone had brushed past her, a shadowy figure slipping through the crowd with rapid movements. The suddenness of it dashed a chill through his veins. I think he started, but before he could finish, another shout tore through the crowd, high-pitched and anxious, drawing everyone's gaze toward the entrance. Security! We need security now! A voice shouted, breaking through the haze of shock. The urgency in the man's tone sent another wave of anxiety rolling through Jake. He pulled Emily closer, feeling the tremor in her body. What's happening? She asked, her brow knitted with worry. Just stay focused on me, Jake urged firmly, but his heart raced. Stay calm. In the chaos, the paramedics continued to stabilize Mia, their movements brisk, but the urgency grew heavier. The mood shifted as whispers morphed into frantic speculation. Eyes darted from one person to another, searching for answers, for something to make sense of an evening that had spiraled out of control. But Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something else was brewing beneath the surface, something more menacing than a woman collapsing. The tension was palpable, like the seconds before a storm. Look! Emily gasped, and he followed her gaze. The figure, the shadow he'd spotted earlier, was now moving towards them, weaving through the crowd with a frantic energy. Jake's heart sank. The man looked disheveled, wild-eyed, like he was lost in a nightmare. He could feel the hairs on the back of his neck rising. Get away from her! The man yelled, pointing at the paramedics working with urgency on Mia. Instinctively, Jake stepped forward, blocking Emily from seeing him fully. The man's desperate gaze flickered from the medics to the couple. This is all your fault. You did this. That's enough. Jake shouted, his voice cutting through the tension. He had to protect Emily, and this was turning into something that felt wrong, so wrong. Mia! You need to listen to me. The man cried, stepping closer, his voice breaking. You can't let her go. Jake's heart tightened. This was clearly far more than simply worrying for a loved one. The air felt electric. Stop! Another voice yelled, the security guards finally closing in, boxing the man and ensuring he wouldn't lunge forward. Emily's eyes were wide with fear, searching Jake's face for assurance. This wasn't just about them. It was about everyone caught in this unfolding drama. "Jake, what do we do?" she whispered, the pleading in her eyes cutting through him more deeply than anything he'd felt tonight. The world felt heavy with possibility, like a fragile balloon straining against a pin. They had come here to face their own truths, yet this was rapidly becoming something they didn't understand. "I don't know, he admitted, his voice laced with uncertainty. "But we have to be ready for anything." In that moment, both of them realized just how much they had to fight for, not just their relationship but for their own safety, because tonight, it seemed, everything was on the line. Emily took a deep breath, her determination sparking anew. "We have to find a way through this, Jake. Whatever this night throws at us, we face it together, right?" "Right," he nodded, feeling that small flame of resolve burn brighter. Yet even as he spoke those words, he felt a deep foreboding. As the crowd buzzed with fear, would they rise or fall in the face of the unexpected? Just then, the man broke through the encirclement, screaming in chaos, and Jake's heart dropped again. What will we do then? The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. With every passing second, they moved closer to a new climax, a defining moment not just for the couple near death's door but for them all. But would they just survive this? Or would they unlock something deeper within themselves? Jake's pulse quickened as the chaos of voices swirled around him, a tide of emotions crashing against his resolve. The man's frantic cries pierced through the crowd, each word tugging at the raw nerves of confusion and fear already laid bare in the room. The panic was palpable, and it felt like a wave, threatening to pull everyone under. He tightened his grip on Emily's hand, feeling the warmth seep into him, anchoring him in this storm of uncertainty. "We can't lose our center, he whispered, determination surging through him as he faced her wide eyes. "We'll get through this. Together." But behind her gaze was a flicker of doubt. Could they really emerge from this night stronger? Or was the chaos around them just a reflection of the turmoil brewing between them, a fierce reminder of all they had yet to confront? As the man continued to shout, Jake felt himself compelled to step forward, a hero born of desperation. "Everyone stay back," he called out, his voice cutting through the tumult. The crowd hesitated, their collective breath caught in their throats, eyes darting between Jake and the unraveling scene before them. "Jake, be careful," Emily called out, her voice steady yet filled with concern. He stole a glance at her, her lips pressed into a thin line, concern laced with bravery. This was new territory for both of them, mixing their personal battles with the unpredictable chaos unfolding before them. "Listen to me," Jake pleaded, taking a step closer to the man. "We want to help. But you need to allow the medics to do their job." Each word was a thread of strength woven into hope, a testament to the change he craved, not just for himself but for everyone caught in this whirlwind. The stranger, a ragged human struggling with emotions, stared back at him, recognition and confusion tangled in his eyes. "Mia!" he wailed, anguish spilling out like an open wound. In that moment, Jake saw past the man's anger, felt the weight of a heart breaking under the crushing pressure of fear. "Take a deep breath," Jake urged, his heart racing as the man trembled, torn between desperation and helplessness. "She needs you to be strong for her. Let us breathe through this together." Slowly, the chaos began to settle around them, as if the world outside was tuning in to the urgency of the moment. Jake could feel Emily's presence behind him and unwavering support. They were no longer just two people trying to navigate their shifting boundaries. They were part of something larger, more powerful. The man's wild gaze softened, and as he locked eyes with Jake, a tiny flicker of recognition sparked between them, a shared understanding of pain. I can't lose her," he swallowed, his voice breaking. "You won't," Jake affirmed firmly. "But you have to trust the people who want to help. Step back. Let them save her." With a trembling nod, the man allowed the medics to move in closer, his breathing shuddering but easing ever so slightly. The energy in the air shifted, morphing from panic into tentative hope. Jake turned, seeking Emily in that moment of clarity. Their gazes met, and something shifted, a light breaking through the clouds. "This could be our moment, Jake," she whispered, her voice trembling with unspoken fear but teetering on the edge of something like courage. "We can't let fear paralyze us." "Exactly," he replied, realizing the truth behind her words. What they had faced tonight, the chaos, the uncertainty, the raw vulnerability, was not just a reflection of others but a mirror of their relationship. This was their moment to either drift apart or forge a deeper connection. As the medics worked quickly to stabilize Mia, Jake squeezed Emily's hand. "Let us fight for us, just like we fought for him. I don't want to lose you." The fear in her eyes softened as she took a deep breath, a wave of determination washing over her. "Let us face this together, Jake. We're stronger than we think." The tension dissipated further as the medics successfully stabilized Mia, transferring her onto the stretcher. The crowd erupted into a wave of relieved cheers, giving way to a new realization of collective human experience. In that moment, Jake felt a swell of hope. Perhaps they had traversed the brink together, not just for Mia, but for themselves. They had discovered something powerful in each other's hearts amidst the storm. "Where do we go from here?" he asked, feeling the warmth of Emily's hand in his begin to anchor him once more. "Forward," she said firmly, a small smile breaking through the remnants of tension. "With our eyes open." As the crowd thinned and the noise softened, they turned to each other, the connection renewed. They weren't just fighting against the world around them but moving toward the shared dreams they had yet to fully explore. It was in that warm release, in the heartbeat of new beginnings, where hope grew strongest. Finally, Jake knew where his true commitment lay, not just in helping others, but in intertwining that mission with Emily, two hearts blazing a pathway forward, together. As they stepped into the night, side by side, a moonlit sky chuckled softly above them, becoming a witness to their transformation. They would carry this moment, this bond, and whatever came next would only solidify them as partners in both love and purpose. Together they would shine, illuminating the path for others, embracing each step, hand in hand. And as they walked away from the chaos, Jake felt ready for anything to come. Now that you've reached the end of this incredible journey, don't miss out on more amazing stories. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel and be the first to catch our next exclusive tales. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you're enjoying the content. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this powerful ending. Let's share our reactions together, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the love. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through your actions.